As long as you stay above this trend line, I'm going to keep a positive bias on Bitcoin. Short-term positive bias on Bitcoin. Again, midterm, I'm still very skeptical because I don't trust the financial system in terms of the stock market, and that again still makes me worried that Bitcoin could struggle. I am a long-term believer in Ethereum, much more in Bitcoin, but I still think Ethereum has a major place in the future of investing. We obviously have the futures now on Ethereum. Eventually, we'll have a spot ETF just like with Bitcoin.
In his daily game plan, seasoned trader Gareth Soloway, drawing from his 20 years of experience, conducted a comprehensive analysis of both Bitcoin and Ethereum charts. He observed that the short-term sentiment had turned bullish for Bitcoin, but indicated a downward trend in the Ethereum chart. After ongoing efforts to convert its Bitcoin trust into an exchange-traded fund, Grayscale now intends to do the same with its Ethereum product. Bitcoin price blasted above $28,000 for the first time since August as investors embraced news surrounding Ethereum futures exchange-traded funds approvals. Bitcoin, which had a good start to October and rose to $28,500, now price trades around $27,000 and $28,000 for the fifth consecutive day. Bitcoin fractal remains intact, preventing Bitcoin from retesting the $30,000 psychological level. Soloway suggests that as long as Bitcoin stays above $25,000, we could potentially reach $29,000 or even revisit the range between $30,000 to $31,000, which is near the recent 52-week high. Soloway also mentioned that he remains skeptical about Bitcoin in the midterm because he lacks trust in the financial system. Major cryptocurrencies drifted lower in recent weeks as commentary from the Federal Reserve hinted at another interest rate hike by the end of the year and suggested interest rates could remain higher for longer than expected. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission also delayed decisions once again regarding the approval of Bitcoin spot exchange-traded funds, even after members of Congress sent the SEC a letter urging the regulator to approve the ETFs. Now, let's direct our attention towards the video.
Bitcoin, basically what we have is obviously a short-term breakout that we had last week, and I'll touch base on that. So remember last week, we talked about how once we got above this line, the bias in the short term became bullish. What we saw was a continued move up, almost achieving this next level of resistance right here, which is going to be the next level right up here around 29,000, right? It came up short, it stalled, and now it's kind of just chopping sideways. All right, now the key again is this trend line here, right? This trend line down, down, down. We go down here. We broke out. So as long as you stay above this trend line, I'm going to keep a positive bias on Bitcoin. All right, now if we were to sell off and come like this and get back below, now you got to flip back to negative. But as long as we stay above this downsloping trend line, you have to think that we at least will touch this level. There's even a chance for us to go back to what I would call the scene of the crime, this 30,000 to 31,000 level, which gets us very, very close to this recent, 52-week high, we'll call it. Okay, so that's your key analysis on Bitcoin. Again, short-term positive bias on Bitcoin. Again, midterm, I'm still very skeptical because I don't trust the financial system in terms of the stock market, and that again still makes me worried that Bitcoin could struggle. If you see panic, a lot of people say to themselves, well, if the stock market collapses, wouldn't Bitcoin do better? Well, eventually, yes. Eventually, I think it becomes the digital gold. It's not fully there yet. It's maybe 1/4 there. So it still can be affected, and there still can be panic, especially with crypto investors. Remember, a majority of people in crypto are smaller investors, unlike people in Apple. If you're in Apple, it's a lot of institutions. Heck, Warren Buffett owns a massive amount of Apple. He's not going to get panicked. He's really not, right? So you have a lot more stability in some of these big cap tech stocks versus within crypto. So if you see panic filtering through the population, people are going to panic and they just sell. It's not even a thought about it. It's irrational. It's emotional. And that's why you can see potentially selling in the future on Bitcoin.
Despite going through an extended crypto bear market, the most recent approvals and launches of multiple Ether futures ETFs have boosted institutional investors' interest in the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, Ethereum. According to CNBC, on October 2nd, 6 Ether futures financial products started to be officially traded. On October 2nd, Ethereum experienced an upward move represented by a green candle. However, what followed was a complete reversal. On October 3rd, there is again a green candle and followed by a complete reversal. Soloway drew a comparison between this price action and that of Bitcoin, emphasizing that this particular candle formation tends to precede a price decline. He also pointed out that Ethereum could potentially encounter resistance around the 1580 level in the short term. Now, let's direct our attention towards the video.
If we go to Ethereum, I know a lot of you guys are into Ethereum. Just remember, we still have a head and shoulders pattern here on the Ethereum chart. So here's our head and shoulders, right? We have our shoulder, our head, and our shoulder, and we have broken. And if you calculate the target like we just showed before, you actually get down to 1100. So that would be your kind of max downside. If we got to 1100, I actually would start to buy a hodl position. I don't have any Ethereum right now. I would actually start to inch in a little bit down here because I am a long-term believer in Ethereum, much more in Bitcoin, but I still think Ethereum has a major place in the future of investing. We obviously have the futures now on Ethereum. Eventually, we'll have a spot ETF just like with Bitcoin. Okay, now one of the things I don't like on Ethereum short-term here is look at the reversal that we saw here. Let me zoom in a little bit here on this chart, right? So if we zoom in, what we can see is that we had this move up, green candle, and then look at a full reversal, and then notice how price comes down right after that. That's never a good thing. This is not good to see. It tells you that as soon as these buyers came in, there were major sellers that pounded it down, pounded it right back down. Again, price is going to have a struggle there and is likely headed back down in the near term to this level around 1580. Now, we'll have to see if it holds 1580 there. But again, just a reminder here, these type of price actions are important to keep note of. If we flip back to Bitcoin, look at this. And I'm doing this to really educate you guys and teach you about this because it really does help. So if we go to Bitcoin, and I'm going to zoom out here on the Bitcoin chart, notice again where we had this type of action. Green candle up, red candle down, engulfing or negating it. What happened to price? It went down, right? And then we had this bigger collapse. Green candle up, 2 days later, full reversal, price went down here. Now, right here, we had a red candle, big green reversal, and what did price do? It's gone up. So these are little signals. The charts are amazing. It's like dropping little breadcrumbs. And if they drop the breadcrumbs, it's up to us as traders and investors to scope it out and follow the breadcrumbs to the ultimate outcome, or at least the highest probability outcome. And that's really what the charts are doing for us, right? I've said this before. It's like, this when you don't know charting and you just look at this, you're like, wow, what a messy thing. Like, how the heck does anyone even make sense of this? But then you start learning the language of the chart, like a foreign book, like you start to learn a language, and you're like, wait a minute. All right, so these are telling me little signals. And this is why I hope each and every one of you does take the time to actually learn just a little bit. Try to do it once a week. What's one thing about a chart that you can learn? And maybe you learn it from this game plan. I hope you do. I hope you share it with your friends. It means the world to me. The comments you guys leave really does. But again, it does help you. And what you learn now, whether you're 10, 20, 50 years old, it will help you the rest of your life. It changes your mindset on investing in a way that really changes your financial future. Like you morph into something much, much more amazing financially for the rest of your life.
The third quarter of 2023 was full of twists and turns for the crypto market led by Bitcoin. At some point, market participants had much to celebrate. Other times, the conviction that the market would either be favorable or maintain a good level of stability dampened. Going into the fourth quarter, there seems to be a lot to look forward to. One example is the integration of the Bitcoin Lightning Network on Coinbase. What is your stance where Bitcoin will go next? That wraps up our discussion for today. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this content informative, do not forget to give a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for latest updates. Thanks for joining us.